Welcome to the Sportaholics show. I'm the host, Russ, and this guy right here is Peyton with the expert takes, the sports extraordinaire enthusiast, whatever you want to call him, man. That's my guy right there, and we're here every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Make sure you guys lock in every Friday, man. How you doing today, bro?
Man, I'm doing good, bro. We're in the swing of things now, but we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna talk some culture,
yes,
some current events, so excited for that.
Yes, sir. We are live, like he said, live in the swing of things. We're talking week 2 football. No love for college football today.
Well, like I said, we have some more important things to talk about this week. A lot's going on, so
okay. True story.
That's what I'm saying.
True story. I get it. But with that said, what are we drinking on today?
Oh, another edition of Evan Williams.
That thing is looking frosty.
As you guys can see, it's frosty. It's chilled.
Yeah.
It's chilled. So if you can't see it, it says Evan Williams Apple. Okay, so Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey blended with apple liqueur and caramel color.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So
all right.
That's what we're having.
You know what I'm going to say. Pour me up, bro. Pour me up.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's strong and tall.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just like that.
While he does that, man, you guys be sure to show us some love by smashing that like and subscribe button. And yeah, man, make sure you stay tuned into the conversation and get active with us.
Absolutely.
And if you're not already, please make sure you can find us on X and on Instagram at the, with 2 E's, Sportaholics. We're there. We're there.
We love to be part of the conversation with you all, so feel free to comment, let us know your thoughts.
Yes. So with that being said, we're gonna take a toast.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
Like we always do every week. All right, yeah, get that thing nice.
Shake it.
It's already nice and chill. We got ice in here. We don't even need ice, man. That thing's been in the freezer for 3 days. All right.
Y'all can tell. Like right now, it's still frozen.
Yes, sir. But while we do that, while we take our first sip, man, y'all sit back, relax. We'll be on the other side of the intro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back in, guys. Once again, the expert Peyton. I'm your host, Russ. And today I just want to drop a little fact on you. In 1973, this is today in sports, by the way. In 1973, U.S. Congress passed and sent the bill to President Nixon to lift the NFL's TV blackout of sold out games. Mm-hmm. All right, so if your games didn't sell in your local area, they will black out the games. Like if it didn't sell out, you weren't able to watch it. So they passed that ban, and now it's up to 85%. So the games have to be, they still have a blackout ban, but it has to be 85% sold out.
So over 50 years ago, right? Yes. 51 years ago, sports became part of the American fabric.
For sure.
If you will.
For sure. I mean, you know, the Sundays, every Sunday, people would gather around their TV and they would enjoy with their family or with their friends, kind of like me and you do. So that bill allowed us to create a culture out of sports, out of football.
Yeah, which is a great thing. Yeah. I'm glad that happened, and it's great to bring that up today since it is the anniversary.
Yes, sir. Yeah. With that being said, let's go ahead and move on into culture.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, he finally broke his silence on Kendrick Lamar being named the halftime performer of Super Bowl 59.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Peyton? Do you think Lil Wayne deserved to be the performer of the halftime show?
Well, we saw Snoop Dogg in his hometown in Los Angeles at the Super Bowl a couple of years ago be able to perform in front of his home fans.
Him and Dre,
Yeah, him and Dre. So I thought this was a good chance for that to happen again. I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't know all the background, but that was my main takeaway. Man, this would have been a great opportunity for Lil Wayne to perform in front of his home city.
Yeah, he admitted that he was hurt. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he was so quiet over the past 3 days. And this conversation, it really caused a roar in social media. And Nicki Minaj really did a lot of the talking for him over the past couple of days, for the greater part of this week. You know, she was basically saying Jay-Z hates her and Drake so much that they snubbed Lil Wayne from being able to perform in his hometown. So I think Kendrick Lamar, while he's a great performer, I do think this was an opportunity missed for them to actually give gratitude and give their flowers to a legend in the likes of Lil Wayne. But there's a lot of pieces that go into Lil Wayne being, not selected for this. I mean, he has a history of not remembering his lyrics and so on and so forth. And also, Kendrick Lamar, he's on the hype train right now. Like
he is. He's on top at the moment.
At the moment, yes. Yeah. I mean, he's always been in my top 3.
Okay.
All right, he's always been in my top 3.
What's the rest of the top 3?
I can't give you that right now.
Why not?
Oh, man. Okay. All right. So it goes Kendrick.
All right.
J. Cole.
Oh.
And for me, it's Big Sean.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Big Sean is very underrated. See, that's why I didn't want to have this conversation, because this could turn into a long,
Plus, I don't have much to
conversation.
say off of it anyways, but I love hearing your big 3.
Yeah. I mean, and my number 3 rotates in and out. Is so many lyricists that you can throw in there. But I like, I could put Kanye in there. I could put M in there. There's so many pieces that I can throw in there. So my number 3 is really like a toss-up. It depends on the day.
As you know, Russ, I'm more of a casual music fan. Although when I'm working out, when I'm getting into a groove, I like to listen to certain types of music.
Right.
For me, as a casual...
Heavy metal.
No.
That's okay.
Hip-hop, man.
Oh, okay.
Hip-hop.
All right. I was just making
rap
sure.
And hip-hop.
Okay.
No, for real.
I didn't know if you were a Marilyn Manson type guy.
No, but as a casual music fan, I don't know the ins and outs of the industry. I don't know the current beef between all of the hip-hop rappers and all of those things. The perception for me, and I could be off, but my GOAT for music is Drake.
Okay.
And that might sound crazy to some, but he does it all to me.
Okay. I'm going to just give you a small lesson, right?
All right, give me the lesson, because I need to be informed.
Drake was the prince of hip hop.
When? Early 2010s?
Before this summer. Before this summer. Okay. Right?
So
Drake,
I'm way off base.
Drake has been killing the game, and he's still going to be killing the game.
Yeah.
But I believe that Kendrick Lamar kind of gave him a body shot that he couldn't recover from. And we've seen Drake go through certain beefs, and he's always been the troll that he is today, and it's always worked. But the same tactics that he had with Meek Mill and Common and other rappers that he had in the game, A$AP Rocky,
he would respond.
Yeah.
And he'd have a good response, correct?
Right.
In a rap or a mixtape, whatever the case may be?
Yes.
Okay.
But Kendrick Lamar kind of gave him those shots. Like, he took him into deep waters, and Drake could not swim his way out of it.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of those things. And that's just also in my opinion. It depends on what side of the spectrum you're looking at it from. Like, most people would say Drake won. A lot of people would say Kendrick Lamar bodied him. I'm one of those.
See, my perception of it is that most people would say Kendrick bodied him.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been surprised, just because I'm a big Drake guy.
Right.
So I'm not into it 100%, but I would expect Drake to respond at some point.
Yeah.
Even though he shot into those deep waters, like you said.
No, I mean, and they did have their back and forth, but here's where Kendrick killed Drake, right?
Oh.
So when Drake was beefing with Meek Mills, I forget what year it was, but when he was beefing with Meek Mills, he had a song called Back to Back, which basically turned into a hit. Right, and it was getting radio play, played in the club, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And Kendrick did the same thing with Drake. Drake dropped a song. Kendrick responded less than an hour later. Right, so he had that song on Dial Up, and then that song also turned into one of the biggest hits of the year. Yeah, for sure. With Not Like Us. So Drake, I mean, Kendrick, he did his thing. And I think that hype train is one of the main reasons why he was selected to perform in the 2025 halftime show.
Okay. So thank you for informing me, honestly, because I didn't really know, but that's interesting for sure.
No, and it depends on what angle you're looking at it from and who's your favorite artist. If you ever really listen to Kendrick Lamar, or if you ever really, I mean, I think everybody listens to Drake. I think Drake has more fans than Kendrick Lamar, but as far as a lyricist goes, Kendrick Lamar has always reigned supreme over Drake, if you ask me. Drake is a pop star. Drake is a star. You know what I mean? Like he's a pop star.
He puts the pop in hip hop.
I see what you tried to do there.
I tried to do it.
I see what you tried to do there, but
I'm treading water right now. Can we go 1st and 10, Steve Sarkisian, Texas against Michigan? That's kind of my lane.
We are not getting into college football today.
All right, yeah, we're not.
Unfortunately,
but I need to learn my lesson.
Yeah, but we can move on to football, man. Well, with that being said, let's just go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and move on. So for the people that's sitting at home, we are gonna start adding segments into our show, so that way you guys know exactly what it is that we want to do on a week-to-week basis and give you more of a reason and incentive to return week to week every Friday at 7:30 p.m. So with that being said, our first installment will be pick and play. These are players that we see having a breakout weekend or either had a past exciting game, something like that we're anticipating that to continue going into the future. So, Peyton, I want to ask you, did you pick some players that you thought would have standout games this weekend?
I did, man. You told me to pick 3 positions. Well, 2 positions on offense and 1 defense as a team.
Yes.
So we're going to start with the quarterbacks.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with the standalone game on Sunday night. And how about the Houston Texans quarterback, C.J. Stroud?
Okay.
It looked like from year 1 to year 2, he didn't miss a beat in his game 1 against the Indianapolis Colts. And Russ has talked about this before. How about looking like you're comfortable, in control, and in command? I mean, the guy looks like he's been playing football for a long time. Yeah. And I got to give credit to Ryan Day at Ohio State, right? Because the Ohio State offense is different than a lot of college football offenses these days in that it's more pro style. So it gets guys ready for the pros.
Right.
And then C.J. Stroud as an athlete inevitably is a good starting point as well.
Right.
You got to give him some credit too.
For sure.
You know, because he's a great player in and of his own right. So great instincts, great pocket presence, great awareness, and good accuracy.
Yeah.
So
I would say C.J. Stroud, he was one of those quarterbacks last year that looked like they were in a contract year, if that makes sense.
Even though he was in year 1.
Right. He was just getting out the gate, but he seemed more mature than any other quarterback in the division and especially being a rookie. Yeah. So definitely, I think that's a great start.
I think he's going to show out Sunday night for the Texans' first home game. Everyone's hyped about the Bears. I think he's going to have a very good game.
And it's also the Bears. So there's no reason for him to not have. Even though that defense did their thing.
That's true.
Even though that defense did their thing.
2 defensive touchdowns.
I don't see it happening twice. Lightning don't strike in the same place twice. All right. So I'm gonna give you my pick.
Yeah.
My pick goes to a guy who had a lot of hype coming out of college. He kind of lost his way, and I think that was due to the team that he was drafted by. But now he has resurged for another team. And my pick goes to quarterback, Baker Mayfield. This guy was dancing. He was feeling himself this past Sunday. He had an amazing game. He threw for 4 touchdowns, almost 300 yards. Not quite. He threw for 289. And I'm looking forward to him. It seems like he got his swagger back. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. And I think he's kind of a forgotten talent. Especially knowing exactly what he did while he was in college. So I think him having some confidence issues, I think those things have gone away. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Baker Mayfield has to say when it comes to this next game. And I'm expecting him to continue. Maybe not 4 touchdowns, because that's very unlikely, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in week 2.
Absolutely. And a rematch of the divisional round last year between the Buccaneers and Lions, which makes for more intrigue.
Yes.
So,
And the Lions were up against the ropes in their last game. So they do have some vulnerability when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. They were up for the most part in that game, and then the Rams somehow, some way figured out a way to come back and take it into overtime. So, not being too chalky or trying to break down that game too much, but I think that's a great spot for Baker Mayfield and a great test for that Buccaneers organization.
Yeah.
Who you got up next on your list?
So next we're going to go with a skill position player.
Yep.
And I hate to be a home team player here, but I'm going to go with Taysom Hill for the Saints.
Okay, no, I like it. I like the Swiss Army knife himself.
You took the words right out of my mouth,
Yeah.
right? That's what I've got here on my notes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. He lined up at tight end, running back, and receiver all in week 1. I expect him to do that more in week 2 and also get more snaps. He played less than 20 snaps in week 1.
Yeah.
I expect him to be a bigger part of the game plan against the Cowboys and to really impose his will because he's great with the ball in his hands.
Man,
so
that guy is one special player.
Yeah.
Like, he is one special player. It's not too many guys that you can line up in multiple positions like that. The only other player that comes to mind who actually gets snaps from different positions that come to mind would be Deebo Samuels. We seen him play running back. We see him play wide receiver. We haven't seen him line up at quarterback yet, but if Purdy go down, he might have to take a snap or two.
Yeah.
But go ahead, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, no, man. Like you said, he's an incredible athlete. Even at the age of 34, he's still getting it done. And really, it comes down to what he can do with the ball in his hands. I mean, he's got great ball carrier vision. He finishes through contact. So I expect a big game from him here in week 2.
I can definitely dig it. I dig it.
Yeah.
All right, so for my skill player, I'm going with running back.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley.
Ooh.
This guy, listen, in the game against the Packers,
Yeah.
it looked like he was running for his life to get out of New York. All
Running
right,
from tigers and lions or something?
Listen, no, this guy, like, it looked like he couldn't wait to break out of the chains of the New York Giants organization. And it could have been possibly, like, he did his thing while he was a Giant, but it looked like he was fresh. He was happy to be there. His team really, embraced him.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. He ran for over 100 yards, had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And
He was balling.
he really was. And I'm looking forward to seeing if they can carry that momentum into week 2.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what Saquon Barkley has to offer in that Eagles offense.
Absolutely. We've always known he's a talented back, and now he's not playing behind that New York Giants offensive line.
Yep.
So his talent is on display.
And the crazy part about it is, while the offensive line for the Eagles has switched up a tiny bit.
No more Jason Kelsey.
A tiny bit. They seem like they didn't have a problem adjusting it at all.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Now I'm gonna skip you on this next one.
Go ahead.
All right, we're gonna jump into defensive teams or teams that defense, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And my pick would go to the New York Jets. All right, I see them having a bounce back week. This is a team that really just ran into a juggernaut of an offense in San Francisco 49ers last week. I think that they have the opportunity to bounce back in this game. And we'll see exactly what happens. What say you?
I'm going to agree with you there. I'm going with the Jets as well. And Russ, as you know, being a college athlete at the football level, defensive 101 is stop the run, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
But, I mean, before anything, no matter what offense you're going up against, it could be a Peyton Manning offense, it could be a Tom Brady offense, a Drew Brees offense. We got to stop the run.
Well, it matters. What offense you're going up against, it definitely does matter. It
matters, but if we can't stop the run, we're going to lose anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm looking for with the Jets to see if they're going to fix that issue, because I can't remember exactly how many yards the 49ers had in that game, but it was a lot.
Yes.
So that's the first step.
So what I will say is they also didn't get any help from their own offense.
Fair.
The Jets offense was really subpar. They had a few
turnovers early.
Yeah, with that being said, like, if your defense is spending a lot of time on the field, of course they're going to get tired. Of course the other team is probably 9 times out of 10 going to run up the score on them because the defense is gassed.
True.
So not only for the defense, but this whole Jets team needs to bounce back, and I don't see another team being more perfect to bounce back against than the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, this is a big spot for them.
Yeah.
I mean, 0-1 going into week 2 against a subpar opponent, to say the least, even though the Titans played a somewhat competitive game against the Bears. It's a big spot. I think even though it's not one of those showcase games. You know, Tom Brady's calling the Saints Cowboys. It's going to be a corner TV game, but everyone's going to have their eyes on it.
Right. So we talked about teams and players that we expect to have a big week 2.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and recap week 1.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the top 3 teams in week 1.
Okay.
I'll start it off.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for me, it was the Eagles. All right. So in no particular order for me. Well, I guess it would be a particular order. For me, number 1 would be the Eagles.
They did go to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yes. And also, not only that, but for them to have so many rotating pieces, of course, they still have their 2 wide receivers and outside guys, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
But with the loss of Kelsey and gaining Saquon Barkley, no telling exactly what this offense was going to look like. So I think they did a good job in winning a tough. And you know me, Peyton. Like, I love to see tough, competitive football, and to see that team figure out a way to win. And late in the game, unfortunately for the Packers, they lost their quarterback for who knows how long. I mean, they're saying 4 to 6 weeks, but who knows when he really will come back. So when they needed Jordan Love the most, he wasn't really there. But that being said, I think the Eagles did an amazing job of putting their game plan into work and really catering that offense around Saquon Barkley. Like, you think about some of the running backs that they've had in the past.
Yeah.
But they've never had a running back like Saquon Barkley.
Fair.
I think for me, number 1 last week top performance would go to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
What about you?
I'll go with my number 1 team. How about, we just spoke about it, the 49ers.
Yep.
I mean, no Super Bowl hangover there. They looked dominant in their performance.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how they would have a hangover. I mean, it would be more like a nightmare, but I hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I would start on the defensive side of the ball because they're just fun to watch, and that's hard to say for a defense. I mean, when you're talking about Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and that safety Hufanga, just turn on the tape and watch them play, regardless of the offense they're going against. They're fun to watch.
You know what's so trippy about that game, though?
Yeah.
Kickoff was at 8:30.
Right.
You turn the TV on, and it's sunny as hell in San Francisco.
All the way out there on the West Coast.
I'm like, yo, what is happening? Like, I still can't get used to the fact that it's dark over here and it's bright over there. Like, it's just it amazes me every time. Sorry, that's
go ahead.
That was just me. Like, when I turned on that game and I saw them warming up and it was sunny, I'm like, I'm looking out the window like, yo, it's bright over there. But in the game, it really didn't get dark until like after halftime. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. So.
No, but I think there's something to be said about having a Super Bowl hangover. I mean, in the past decade, they've done studies on teams that have lost in the Super Bowl, i.e. the 2016 Atlanta Falcons came back the next year, didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
There's more examples than that, but
to
have that kind of energy for game 1 after losing in overtime in the Super Bowl, I was really impressed by that performance.
Okay. So, good. All right, so for me, my next team, actually, I have a tie.
Okay.
For the next 2 teams and top performances, that goes to the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Both these teams had double-digit. They were trailing by double digits, and they both figured out a way to etch it out. You know how to pull out in that game. So, my holding up the rear of my top 3 would be the Bills and the Dolphins. And there's other teams that had great performances. The Saints, but they were playing the Panthers, so we all know what the Panthers are like.
Right.
So
there's something to be said for being down, not panicking, knowing it's a 60-minute game, finishing the game.
Now, it was a toss-up between the Dolphins and the Bears.
Right.
But I don't know. Like, I think honorable mention would go to the Bears for me.
Okay.
And you can't knock the Bears, and I'm not even talking about their offense. I'm talking more so special teams and defense.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I think everybody understands what happened in that game, and but that would be me. What about you? I had a tie, so
you had a tie for 2 and 3.
Right. You can go back to back. You can
All
go
right,
back
I'll
to
go back to back. Number 2, the Chiefs.
Okay.
Because they played a real tough opponent. They played the team they played against in the AFC Championship game in the Ravens.
They played their little brother. That was their little brother.
Yeah, you had to go there, but I think you're right about that.
I'm going to talk about the Ravens a little bit later. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the Chiefs, and then how about the Lions against the Rams?
That was a good game.
You know, they scored when they needed to.
Yep.
Because by the fourth quarter, we were talking about how the Rams had more yards than the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
They had done better in the second half, but the Lions just put it all together when they needed to. They looked like a veteran team, and we know that team's pretty young with guys like Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs and all those guys. So a veteran win for the Lions.
And this goes back to when we picked our playoff predictions, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Like, this goes back to the gritty teams. Like, I love a team that can figure out how to win it. And if they have to win it late, they still figure out ways how to score. So, fortunately for me, this game went into overtime. And I love me a good game that goes into overtime. And
free football, like you said.
Love me some free football. So, and then the Lions, they got the ball in overtime, and they marched their way down the field to score a touchdown. So, that was a really good game. I was really pleased. I could not take my eyes off the TV because that's how entertaining it was and how competitive it was. So,
yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, okay, so that was your number 3.
Was 2 and 3.
Okay.
Chiefs and Lions.
All right.
Yep.
Just to recap, so I had Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, and honorable mention would go to the Bears.
Okay.
And you had
49ers, Chiefs, Lions, honorable mention.
You don't have to have an honorable mention.
Yeah, I don't have one.
You don't have to have an honorable mention.
There's a few out there. I can't decide. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. All right, so the next segment that we're going to install here is matchup of the week. I mean, it's pretty clear cut. These are the games that we think are going to be big games going into whatever week that it is that we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about week 2, yes, but it doesn't have to be week 2 for those that's watching.
For the segment purposes.
Yes. So with that being said, Peyton, I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to start here. So for me, I picked 2 games. And it would be, the first game would be the early game, the Saints versus the Cowboys. All right, the Saints are in Arlington and Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, big spot.
We'll see. I mean, the Saints had a pretty convincing win over the Carolina Panthers. So did the Cowboys against the Browns.
Exactly.
So these are 2 teams who are coming off of pretty dominant wins.
Yeah.
And I want to see who's a phony. Who's phony?
Right.
Who's fake?
Right. Yeah.
Those are the type of people I hate.
I hear you.
Peyton didn't catch the reference, but it's okay. It's okay because I know my people at home caught the reference.
Was it going back to the musical?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look that up.
That is definitely a song. That's definitely a song, but it's all good.
Well, I like that you brought that game up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure the odds makers know what to do with this game. The line is sitting at 6.5.
Yeah.
I know each team had dominant wins in week 1.
Yep.
But I could see the Saints covering the spread, and that's not just a biased pick.
Okay.
I see a relatively low-scoring defensive game, which would indicate that the game's tighter than it should be.
Yep.
Not tighter than it should be, just tighter than the perception is.
Yep.
So I think there's free game out there. Now, I'm cold right now, as you know. I liked my Colorado over Nebraska pick.
Me too.
I liked Florida State, so I'm kind of cold right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just throwing something out there. Maybe Saints plus 6.5.
Yeah, so I for me, this game is more so about who's here to stay.
Okay.
You know, I'm personally, and I'm going to put this out there, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't like the Cowboys. All right? But if you prove me wrong, I can accept that, right? So that's me. Like, if you prove me wrong, I can accept that. Yeah. But for me, I'm tired of Dak Prescott. I like CeeDee Lamb, all right? And that's as far as their offense goes. As far as the Saints go, I like Derek Carr.
Yep.
I like Alvin Kamara. They got Olave. Like, they got a lot of weapons over there in New Orleans. So,
and I'm
gonna take the Saints in this one. Like, and because I really don't like the Cowboys. So
Why don't we just double down and we're both on the Saints for that one?
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. I'm
Yeah.
going to be right there with you, bro. Like, my thing is, and I'm not here to bash the Cowboys, but we know they do good earlier in the season, and, you know, it's kind of the same storyline every year for the Dallas Cowboys. They got Jerry Jones in the front office. He don't want to let go of the reins, and, man, listen,
It's time for a change up.
I'm tired of it, bro. I'm really tired of it. Now the Cowboys have an opportunity to prove me wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And until they prove me wrong, I'm gonna be on the opposite side of them. So let's go Saints.
All right, I hear that. Who dat?
Who that, baby?
Who dat? Let's go. I'm
All
with
right.
that.
Go
Okay.
ahead. Who you got for your matchup of the week?
So my matchup of the week, this should be an obvious one.
Okay.
I think, and I was telling Russ this earlier today, I think it's arguably the game of the year in the NFL so far. It's early on. It's only week 2. Mm-hmm. It has to be the Bengals at the Chiefs. Now, I know the Bengals took that loss against the Patriots, and the Bengals have been chirping a good bit before this game.
Yep.
They want the Chiefs to be up and ready for this one. I think you're going to see close to, I'm not going to go all the way there, but close to a playoff atmosphere for this one.
Hey,
Yeah.
so the Bengals have a lot of questions.
They do.
Hovering above their head. Mm-hmm. So how does that, how does that play a factor in this matchup against the Chiefs?
So it starts with Joe Burrow's health, right? And there's a bunch of speculation about whether or not he's healthy, but I'm going to trust his word and say that he is 100% healthy and that wrist is not bothering him. And I'm not predicting an outcome or anything. I'm just saying I expect a competitive game here. And I expect the Bengals also to have a better game plan. You know, I heard Dan Orlovsky talking about how they had more of a finesse game plan in game 1 against the Patriots.
Yeah.
I expect them to bring more toughness to the table, more physicality, a little bit more of the run game, a little bit more play action off of the run game, and just play a good, solid, clean game of football.
So, because you are predicting a competitive game
I'm predicting
Cincinnati
a competitive game. I am.
and the Chiefs.
Yeah. By the way,
I'm going to go ahead
Yeah.
and take the Chiefs to cover.
Oh, man. Okay, so we're head-to-head now.
Yeah, I mean, by all means, like, Peyton, I'm not going to lie to you, like, I don't
I'm
believe
as cold as this bottle right here, so...
I don't believe a word that comes out of Joe Burrow's mouth.
Oh.
You know, I mean, and now we're getting into technical terms here, but they have a lot of medicine inside of the NFL. Mm-hmm. So maybe he does get a little bit juiced up before the game, and that wrist will not be bothering him at game time.
Yeah.
But see. They have way too many questions. I'm going to talk about them here in a little bit once we get to our next section. So I don't want to really take too much thunder away from my spotlight.
Well, let's talk about the talk and the chirpiness between these two teams. Well, at this point, it's one-sided.
Right.
We haven't heard or seen from the Chiefs
and they're not going to talk. They're not going to talk.
But how about...
They just going to come and smack you in the mouth. That's it.
Man, what about cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt talking about rookie receiver Xavier Worthy, right? If you get your hands on him, you're going to stop his speed. So that's something to look out for.
Okay.
Okay, what about all-pro Tier 1 wide receiver Jamar Chase saying, we are the team to beat in the AFC?
Oh, my God.
I just want your response on that because the Bengals did go to back-to-back AFC championship games, and they played the Chiefs to overtime in both games.
And what happened?
The Bengals won one of those games.
Yeah, that was...
Now, obviously, I'm riding with my guy Joe, but I truly expect this to be a competitive game that comes... Yeah, and that's no problem.
Hey, listen, I like Joe Cool, man. That guy is... Yeah. He's a sight to see. I mean, I love his swagger. He got a new hairdo and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm glad you do because you're probably one of one there, man. The discourse around Joe Burrow right now is like the guy can't play ball.
No, I don't know if that's the discourse around him at all. Like he's proven. I mean, what was he, a second-year quarterback, went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So by all means, like I don't think that.
I don't know. You haven't been on X as much as me, where people are saying he's a fraud.
He can spin it. I don't know what other people are. I think this is a perfect opportunity to show those people exactly who he is. And if nothing is wrong with him, this is the great spot for him to say, "Oh, y'all must have forgot," right? And let the people know exactly who he is. But I'm gonna definitely take the Chiefs to cover, only because like you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes, and it's too many questions hovering around Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and so on and so forth. Chase was damn near out the game last week. Like he had limited snaps. He really didn't do anything. So I don't.
All right, well, y'all got the lock for this week. We're going head-to-head on this one. Russ is swallowing 6 points. I'm taking 6 points.
Yeah, you can take them.
We'll see.
You can take them all you want. It might be more than 6 points. Shoot, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's no stopping that offense right now. And
yeah, that's true.
They look good in week 1, and they look like they can do whatever they want to do.
And the Bengals are giving them ammunition, so you can expect the Chiefs to come out with their hair on fire.
We got one game and one drive of footage on the Chiefs, and they don't look like they're slowing down. So that one drive coming from the preseason game where Pat Mahomes threw the behind the back pass. So so by all means, like, and Xavier Worthy showed his behind off in that last preseason game by all means. So
no doubt.
The cornerback, he want to talk all that trash, but look at Tyreek Hill. You see, speed kills.
It does.
Speed kills, especially in the NFL where everybody's fast.
Yeah.
If you faster than the fast people,
that's gonna help.
What? Like, what are we talking about here, right?
Yeah.
So all right. So my honorable mention for this week, I'm gonna go with the Bears and Texans in the primetime game, Sunday night, under the lights. I'm looking forward to it. The Bears. Can Caleb Williams bounce back? Can he outperform his week? He ain't got no choice. He ain't do nothing in week 1, right? So that's not really a question.
Yeah.
Can C.J. Stroud continue to be as fierce as he always been? Is this Bears defense gonna be dominant like they were in the last game versus the Titans?
Yeah.
So like that's my thing. I think if you really want to say a competitive matchup, I think this is a very competitive matchup. With the Texans defense, I think they're kind of, I'm not gonna call them subpar, but I'm gonna call them like middle of the field type defense. They can get the job done, but the Bears defense, the way they look, can they show up in prime time and do the things that they need to do to get the job done? I'm not picking a winner in this game.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna pick. Yeah, I'm not gonna pick a winner in this game because it's really a toss up for me. No telling which quarterback we're gonna get out of Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
So
I like that you said that because at this point we know what we're getting from C.J. Stroud.
Oh,
for
for
the
sure,
most part.
for sure.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing about it. I want to take the Texans, but I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
We got to look at the spread, see how many points they're catching.
Definitely need to do my research on that, but I wouldn't put my money on this game anyways. This is a stay away game for me.
I hear you.
This is a stay away game for me. If I was in fantasy, well, I do play fantasy, but for my fantasy people, I would take the Texans defense away from this game right here because no telling what's gonna happen.
I do have a feeling that Caleb is gonna make some pretty spectacular plays. I don't know how efficient he's gonna be and if the Bears are gonna win.
Yeah.
But on Sunday Night Football,
it's
his second game, he got his feet wet. I have a feeling he's gonna make some plays that make you go, wow.
Hey, primetime can eat you alive.
Yeah.
Primetime can eat you alive. So for Caleb Williams, I get it. He played in some big games in college, but this is next level.
Yeah.
This is next level right here.
Yeah.
So there's no other game to distract the people from watching you. And if you underperform, the talking heads will be talking about you the next day.
Yeah, we know that. We know that.
So right here, right now, I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Caleb Williams. We talked about how mature he looked and with all the pressure from the media and so on and so forth, and how he went through training camp and man,
it's a great spot for him. He gets to showcase himself.
It's a great spot for him to prove exactly who he wants to be because he's not proven in the NFL yet. But if he wants to make a spot for himself, this is the perfect time to prove it.
Absolutely.
You got that subpar game under your belt. You wet the bed.
Yep.
Now it's time to change the sheets.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
let's do it, man. That's why it's my honorable mention game, and I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
So are you ready to move on, or you got another game?
I think we're ready to move on.
All right,
that
cool.
was my game of the week.
All right, cool. So now we're going to move on to another segment we have is called Teams Under Pressure, right? So these are not, teams that have coaches that are about to be fired. Maybe they do. You never know. But these are teams who need a win.
Yeah.
These are teams who need a win. So, Peyton, who are your teams that are under pressure?
So we recently talked about the Bengals. We've already hit on the Jets a little bit. What about the Atlanta Falcons?
Oh, my gosh.
They were supposed to win the NFC South. They're looking at 0-2 in the face with a matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 2 on Monday Night Football.
What did they score, 10 points last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Kirk Cousins looks a little stiff.
He looks a little stiff. I think
like
Michael Penix is a little more spry than him right now.
He looked like he just got his stitches out.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And that's been a tough spot for Kirk Cousins in the past, by the way. Mm-hmm. The Vikings had a Week 2 game at the Eagles either last season or the season before. He did not have his best game.
Yeah.
So I expect the Eagles to be sending pressure, trying to make him uncomfortable. How are they going to respond? How are the Falcons going to respond?
Yeah.
I believe they play the Chiefs either in Week 3 or Week 4. So this is a big spot for them.
Yeah. I agree. Like I said before, I think that they need to have a Penix package where they bring him in just to take some pressure off of Kirk Cousins, because he didn't look good. He didn't look mobile. And speaking of which, if we want to compare him to quarterbacks, what about Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers looked a bit more comfortable. He looked damn good compared to what Kirk Cousins looked like.
Yeah.
And we did talk about this. Like Aaron Rodgers had more time to heal.
Yeah,
a
full calendar year.
Yeah, so
correct.
So
yeah,
maybe Kirk Cousins is not really ready to be out there on the field.
Yeah.
His mind might be ready, but his body isn't really telling me that I'm good to go.
By the way, as a side note, and I hate to bring this up, but we've already seen Tua in concussion protocol, and there was another quarterback. I'm blanking on his name, but Jordan Love.
Yeah, Jordan Love go down with
we've seen the trend in the NFL over the past couple of years. Last year, there were only 7 teams in the whole league that had their Week 1 starter play all 17 weeks.
Yeah.
So
and Tua was one of those guys.
Tua was one of those guys who's already hurt this year. So it's definitely something to think about when you're talking about quarterback health.
Listen, I really didn't want to bring Tua into this whole situation.
I didn't either, but it just came to my head.
Yeah, no, it's just like, man, prayers goes out to Tua, by the way,
Absolutely.
man. I hope he has a very good recovery. I don't want to say speedy recovery because we know how concussions go, and he needs to take his time on this one.
Yeah.
He needs to take his time on this one, and
you know what? Props to him as a competitor, because you could tell that he was pressing in a way, and he probably felt like he wasn't having his best game, which all quarterbacks go through.
Yeah.
And he put his body on the line.
Yeah.
So you can tell he was fighting for his teammates in that moment. And I really respect that, and it's unfortunate what happened, but it is what it is. And like you said, I hope it's a good recovery.
A good recovery for sure, 100%. So like I said before, prayers go out to Tua, his family, and that Dolphins organization. I hope they can figure out a way to move forward in this whole process, because it's very unfortunate what everybody is going through down there in Miami. So
it is.
I'm going to give you my team that's under the most pressure right now, and we spoke about them earlier. My first team would be the Cincinnati Bengals. So many questions for this team. Is Joe Burrow healthy? Is Jamar Chase better than what he was in Week 1? Where's T. Higgins?
He's not going to play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, Chase doing all that talking, he better show up and play.
You're right about that.
He doing all that talking, he better show up and play, because without T. Higgins there, by all means, who else going to catch the ball?
Right.
So, just like so many other teams, they had so many high expectations for the Cincinnati Bengals, and before the season even started, this team seemed to crumble.
Yeah.
You know, so while it's a fair game for you to pick as your matchup of the week, on paper it sounds good. Bengals, Chiefs,
Right.
But
got to show up still.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm a little scared for now. If the Bengals were playing the Panthers, I'll be like, yeah,
right.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
But they playing the Chiefs. Super Bowl champions.
Let's think about it. That is the hardest situation to go into when you're talking on football terms at the moment.
Yeah.
You're playing the champs in their house with the best player, and they're still thinking about an undefeated season.
Yeah.
And Jamar just said, I'm going to stoke this fire a little bit more.
I don't know why.
So
they
want all the smoke.
You do not poke the bear.
Yeah.
You do not. Okay?
They did.
You do not poke the bear.
Yeah.
And this is really not the best spot for them to be in. But if they can figure out a way to win.
Yeah.
If they can figure out a way to win, guess what? They put themselves right back on the map.
You know what? While I'm cold, I'm just going to see how much colder I can get. Give me the Bengals +6.
What? I mean, you already said that.
I already said it, but I just want to confirm it. I got to ride with my guy, Joe. Give me the Bengals +6.
I like it. But on the other side of the ball, the defense, they were able to find some pressure against New England. They really just, they couldn't get it home, but by all means, like, they were able to create some pressure in the pocket.
Collapse the pocket a little bit.
For sure, against Jacoby Brissett. Who's a seasoned veteran, by the way, by all means, like in his own right. But on the contrary, they're going against Patty Mahomes. All right, this guy is next level. He is the boss level, by the way. Like, he's not.
That's the best way to put it, honestly.
Ask Lamar Jackson. Ask Lamar Jackson about Patrick Mahomes.
You couldn't have placed it any better. He is the boss level. If we're playing video games, this is what we're talking about.
Super,
especially right now.
Super big arms, super big legs, big head, and anytime.
By the way, in his prime.
Yeah,
he's 28.
I don't think he's hit his prime yet.
there's no questioning.
I don't think he hit his prime yet.
Oh, fair.
He hasn't hit his prime yet.
Yeah.
What is prime at quarterback? 32, 33?
Fair. Yeah.
He hasn't figured out the NFL yet.
Maybe he's right at the beginning.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that, the beginning of his prime. So that means that his prime, if we're going to say 32, 33, what is he, 28?
28. Yep.
Man, that's 4 to 5 years left of damage that he can. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, we could just spout off about him all day, but we got to move on.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
Well, you go ahead.
Okay, I'll take the next team.
Yep.
So my next team, under pressure to win.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Rams.
They're underdogs. The Cardinals are favored.
Man, listen, that is bonkers. That is bonkers to me.
Fascinating.
Listen, I get it. They lost one of their key pieces in their wide receiver 1B. If we want to still keep that conversation going, right? And wide receiver 1B and Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
They need other ballers to step up, but they got them. They got them pieces. All right. The Johnson kid at wide receiver. Yeah. They got the Parkinson kid at tight end. Like they have pieces that can step up. And
we already know about Cooper Kupp and Kyren Williams.
That's why I ain't say nothing. That's why I'm not. They need other ballers to step up. Like, we know exactly who Cooper Kupp is. Cooper Kupp gonna run a 5-yard and out, and guess what? He gonna do that 15 times over a game, and he gonna have 150 yards.
That little option route.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, this guy is so consistent, and you know what's coming. But guess what? You cannot stop it.
Yeah.
But this is a game that these guys need to figure out a way to win.
Yeah. They're 0-1.
Yeah. They showed they had to fight in them last week.
Yeah.
They showed that they had to fight in them last week, but they just couldn't get the job done. And I believe 100% that they get the job done. I love Matt Stafford. I think he's in a great spot. We talked about him winning the Super Bowl as soon as he got over. Now, what I will say is I do think that they are a little bit comfortable in that building.
Oh.
And I think they need to figure out ways to get back to the old Rams.
Okay.
And man, what happened to the Rams? They used to be the greatest show on turf. right? Okay, that was when they
Super
was
Bowl against Warren Moon.
That was when they was in St. Louis. I get it.
It was before my time, but you already know I've seen highlights of it. They were.
But I don't understand why that didn't stick in their program in their organization. Like I need them to get back to the old days and really put that show on the road because they have the pieces.
Yeah.
They really do have the pieces.
They do.
They had a breakout year last year, a breakout athlete last year in Puka Nacua.
Right.
So by all means, like I get it, he might be out for the next 6 weeks, but
maybe it has to do with the offensive line. We know they have the coach quarterback weapons.
Yeah.
They've had some injuries during training camp on the offensive line. Once that comes together, maybe you see the greatest show on turf again.
Yeah. I think that they've always been a sneaky good team.
Yeah.
But this is a great opportunity to bounce back. And
who else you got as another team under pressure in week 2?
Are you ready for this?
I feel like I'm not going to be that surprised, but we'll see where this goes.
The Be More Ravens, baby.
Oh, that's true.
They need a win, and they need to win bad.
They do.
Hey, listen, I just want to say this. I know Lamar Jackson, when he saw the schedule release, he probably had mixed feelings, right? He probably called Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, just to see how they dealt with anxiety from playing Jordan all those years because Patrick Mahomes ain't playing no games.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Mahomes ain't playing no games. And guess what? Unless he gets injured, God forbid, I'm not wishing injury on nobody. I'm just saying, unless he get injured, he ain't going nowhere. Nowhere. He going to be the ultimate test.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a Chief for life. So by all means, unless Lamar Jackson get traded to the NFC.
That's the final boss you have to go through.
Come on, man. To start the season against Pat Mahomes is tough for anybody.
Yeah.
But knowing this, this is the guy who's stopping you from reaching the Super Bowl. Like, I know that he probably saw that schedule. He probably was like, man, god damn, man. Like, come on. All right. But that said, this is a great week for them to bounce back, build some confidence. They're at home versus the Raiders.
They are.
This is an organization who has their own questions internally.
Yeah.
So I can see the Ravens finding a way to dominate, and enough of that for me. The Ravens is my number 3 team. Who needs to figure out a way to find a win this week.
Absolutely.
And I will get to the Ravens in a second. What you got?
Okay. So we've already hit on the Bengals enough. We'll just go back to the Jets.
Okay.
And I'm going to go back to what I said in our first episode, man. Like, this is a bigger lift for Aaron Rodgers than people realize, but it's on him to get it done, right? He's the leader of this team right now. And I'm going to say this, Nathaniel Hackett is his guy as offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about it. When Tom Brady went to the when Peyton Manning went to the Broncos, that was partially his offense. When Tom Brady went to the Buccaneers, that was partially his offense.
Yep.
I expect Aaron Rodgers to be a leader in these offensive meetings at this point, and I expect this to be his offense. I want to see more than 21 pass attempts because at the end of the day, that's not going to get it done on the road against Tennessee. I think you're going to see a more loose Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what's going to happen. I could even see the Jets going 0-2, but this is a big spot for them. I hope they win. I'm excited to watch what's going to unfold, but I'll say, again, this is a big lift for Aaron, but it's on him. It's his lift to make.
I had to bite my tongue just a little bit. And
is it because it's like the 4th or 5th time I brought up this man's name?
No.
And we've only
No. It was more so because you said that he's the, what did you say, the leader in that offense and in that building. And
I think he is.
Whatever, right?
I think he is.
Yeah. If that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, first, before I even get to my point.
All those guys are looking up to him.
Before I get to my point.
Go ahead.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers cares about winning in New York?
Yeah.
He does?
Yeah.
So where was he all summer?
He had a little sabbatical.
A little one. Everybody knew exactly where this man was at. The team was doing mini camps and so on and so forth. How, do you not care about report? And it showed in the first game. It showed in the first game. You got Alan Lazard, ball hitting him right in the face. Bloop! Only person that's out there catching balls is Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Like,
and to your defense, Aaron kind of does his own thing in the offseason, and now it's on him. The fact that the Jets are behind the 8 ball a little bit.
It ain't on him. It ain't on him. It's on everybody else. Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers regardless if he comes to mini camp, training camp, summer camp. It don't matter.
He's got a live arm. He's going to throw the ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's on everybody else to show up and play the game. I think that's even more of a reason for Aaron Rodgers to be in those mini camps and training camps. They need to understand, this is how fast the ball is coming. Aaron Rodgers wants me to cut out on this situation, so on and so forth. That's why I asked the question, does Aaron Rodgers really care about winning in New York? Or was it a whole
I imagine he has to.
As a competitor, of course you want to win.
Yeah.
But does he really think he's going to win going against Patrick Mahomes?
Oh.
Does he really?
That's a good question.
Does he really think come on, we just talked about this man being the boss. Does he really care?
You're gonna have to
and
put up a lot of points.
This goes back to my point. Everybody want Aaron Rodgers to be the savior.
Right.
But he ain't that. He's just a quarterback. He's just one guy.
I feel like we're back in our first episode, but it's fair. I brought it up.
Right. He's one guy who has been great over his career. I'm not taking nothing away from Aaron Rodgers, but he had a little bit more point to prove 8 years ago.
Yeah.
He had more of a point to prove. Now it's just.
I feel like this is his project, though. Even though he was traded to the Jets, he didn't choose the Jets ultimately.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. He did. He wanted to go to the Jets.
But he was traded there.
He was. He wasn't a free agent. You're right.
Right.
But he wanted to go to the Jets. It wasn't like they just shipped him off.
Then it is his project.
Do you think?
Which is why I'm saying he is the leader of this team, even more so than Robert Saleh. So this falls on him.
Two terrible leaders. Anyways, I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, go ahead. I'm pretty much done.
I didn't mean to take away from you, bro, or your point, but.
No.
If Aaron Rodgers wants to be, if this is Aaron Rodgers' project and he wants it to be successful, they need to pick up a win. So I'm on the same page as you.
That's really the bottom line.
I'm on the same page as you.
You got it.
I just think that Aaron Rodgers is kind of like 1 foot in and 1 foot out at the same time. And,
and with that said, if they do lose to the Titans, it might have to be another egg to the face situation for me because I've been talking all this talk.
They're not losing to the Titans, by the way.
Okay.
They're not losing to the Titans.
All right.
Yeah. No, ain't no way. Ain't no way in hell. No chance.
I feel like you're trying to jinx it right now.
No chance in hell.
You're trying to jinx it.
No, not at all. No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm on the Jet side this week. I'm riding with the Jets. I need to find another team, by the way.
Yeah.
I got to find somebody else to cheer for this year. I got to find somebody else to cheer for this year.
There's plenty of options.
Because my Dolphins are...
There's plenty of options, man.
We just shot ourselves in both feet.
Hey, what do we got next, though?
All right, so moving on with the show, man.
Yeah.
All right, this is for me, this is probably the most fun segment.
Okay.
All right, this segment is called Coach 'em Up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is where we have the opportunity to take one team and coach them up to victory.
Okay.
All right, so
you go ahead.
All right, so
yeah,
this is what we're gonna do here, right? So guys, my team for this week is gonna be the Baltimore Ravens. All right, here we go. We're gonna run the ball, and we're gonna run it a lot. We didn't run it that much week 1 versus the Chiefs, and I think it's mostly because we had to pass the ball and we put ourselves behind. But with that being said, yeah. Here we go. You ready for this, Peyton?
I'm ready.
I got a hell of an analogy for you here, Peyton.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. Have you ever had a car that had 100,000 miles on it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you stop driving it because it has that many miles?
No.
Exactly. The answer is no, Peyton.
No, an emphatic no.
Yes. Yeah. The answer is no.
Yeah.
You ride that thing until the wheels fall off.
All right.
And that's what the Ravens got to do here with Derrick Henry. All right. That thing got a lot of miles on it, but guess what? You load that big Buick up. You put it on the road and see how far it gets us.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We already invested in it. So now we got to put it to the test. We use that to get us to the front, right? No matter where we're going. Okay. This week we're at home, so I don't know what they do for fun in Baltimore, but whatever that is, you get us there. Chocolate City, goddammit. All right. We use that, and the fun is the other weapons on the team, by all means. For the sake of this analogy, when we hit traffic or the defense loads the box, we use the helicopter and we air that thing out. But until then, we run the ball with Derrick Henry. And we beat that drum until it breaks.
Man, okay.
That is my coach 'em up segment for the week.
Okay, that's your coach 'em up for the week.
And I put a lot of thought into that.
You did. I was about to say, I don't have a poem like him.
I put a lot of thought into that.
But I do have a coach 'em up team for this week. And I'm going to change it up last minute.
Okay.
We've already talked about one of these teams too much. But what about staying in that division and going with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Wait, hold on. Who was your team that you?
I don't want to talk about it. It's overkill at this point.
I feel like it was the Bengals.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't that. No, but let's coach them up with the Steelers, right?
Okay.
Because they won that game against the Falcons 18-10.
Yeah.
Justin Fields was okay. He was good enough. Is that going to be enough against the Broncos at home?
Okay.
You know, the Broncos have a good record at home in September when you're talking about going up into that high altitude, playing 60 minutes up there.
Yep.
What I saw from Justin Fields in game one is a lot of what I've seen from him in the past, in that there's inconsistency there, but there's flashes of greatness.
Right.
Let's see him put it all together for once. Take the Steelers into Denver, be efficient, be explosive at the same time, and get a significant win to cement himself as quarterback one for the Steelers.
How does he do it, Peyton? You got to coach him up, Peyton.
He's got to be patient. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you know he's got the athletic ability to evade and escape the pocket. He's got to be patient and wait for his receivers to break open down the field and deliver the ball accurately, whether it's on or off platform.
I think he needs to find his favorite target. I think for Justin Fields, I think he needs to put in a little bit extra work. We talk about, and me being a football player, we always talk about staying after practice to get extra reps, right? I think that's exactly what he needs to do here. And I think his number one target should probably be Pickens.
Yeah.
That guy is amazing.
Yeah. Freaky.
And there's no telling what this guy will do on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
Not only that, if he wants to remain the starter, he has to prove that he's here to stay.
Yeah.
He cannot leave any room for Russell Wilson to come in and Mike Tomlin to say, you know what? Hold on, let me get my Mike Tomlin voice going. You know what, guys? Justin Fields has done a great job for us, but we're a resilient team, and I think we're going to go in the direction of Russell Wilson this week. He's going to be the number one starter, and we're going to see what we get on the field from him this week.
Hey, I like that. we should come up with a new segment where you impersonate coaches. I kind of like that. That was fun.
That was a mix between Mike Tomlin and Ed Orgeron.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Eddie,
yeah. Down on the bayou.
Down there in the bayou, yeah. No, but no, for sure. Like, I think that when it comes to Justin Fields, man, I think he has confidence issues, man. I think he's in his own head a lot, bro. Like, you talk about pressure with Caleb Williams, right? But I think when it comes to Justin Fields, like, he wears a burden that nobody's really putting on him. Like, of course, yeah, he was the number one overall draft pick, right? But he walked into a really, really bad situation.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he wears that burden on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he wants to be better than what he is. And he wants to do it today. Like, I think it's going to take time. And
fair.
The only way to get there is going back to what I was saying before, is those reps after practice, finding that one target.
Yeah.
And getting comfortable with him. Who's the number one receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers team?
Oh, Pickens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to be running routes and throwing routes with him after practice every day.
For
every
sure.
day.
I'm with that.
I like Najee Harris. I think he's a great running back.
I like Freiermuth, the tight end.
Freiermuth. I mean, you know, he okay, whatever. I mean,
whatever.
Tight ends are picky, but I think that he needs to get a little bit more comfortable when it comes to how he commands this offense, and I think that's.
And he doesn't have to force it with that defense. We already know.
Right, and I think it's partially Mike Tomlin's fault as well.
Okay.
Because maybe Fields was going into the season thinking that he was going to be the number 2, and maybe he was going to be the number 2. But you know, now is your time, like, to compete. Now it's your time to compete. So
let's go see it.
Yeah, man.
Let's go see it.
Yeah, man. With that being said, I think that was a good show, man.
I think so too.
I think that was an amazing show, bro. I like the fact that we're now installing segments into this, and it gives the people a reason to come back and things to look forward to on a week-to-week basis, man.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I like segments.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
How you feel about this show?
I felt great about it. Like you just said, we established some segments that we can go back to in the future.
Yeah.
Love that.
We're definitely going to work on the names. Maybe we're going to come up with catchier names, but you guys have the underlying the underlying point of what we're trying to get accomplished here, and that was really fun. It really was fun.
Yeah.
The coach 'em up segment is probably my favorite segment.
Yeah, I love how you acted like John Harbaugh right now. Hey, run the ball right.
Hey, listen. We're gonna run the ball. All right, and then
they don't know what we're doing.
After we run the ball, we're gonna run it again. Right. They're never gonna see it coming.
They're never gonna see it coming.
They're never gonna see it coming. All right. So with that being said, man. Peyton.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the honor.
Sure.
Of signing us out today.
All right, that sounds like a great honor. I'm not used to doing this, but again, comment, like, subscribe. We are the Sportaholics. We want you guys to be part of the conversation. Feel free to comment on anything you heard today. Follow us at The Sportaholics. That's with 2 E's behind the on X, on Instagram, on YouTube. So that does it for us today.
Hold on. I gotta do one thing.
Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, do it.
All right, make sure you smash that subscribe button as well. Go ahead, bro. Finish us off.
Hey, that's pretty much it, man. For now, cheers.
Yes, sir. Great show.
To the Sportaholics. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Yes, sir.
And we out just like that. Great show, man. You did a good job on that. I like that. I like that.